In this English revision video, we will be discussing verbs. Verbs are also a part of speech. If we remember from our first video, parts of speech, all language is made up of words, and all words have a specific purpose. This purpose is known as the part of speech. Verbs are words that describe an action, state, or occurrence. There are different types of verbs: transitive and intransitive, auxiliary, modal, irregular verbs, finite and non-finite. We also get different moods of verbs. Transitive and intransitive verbs. Transitive verbs are the verbs that we are most likely to pick out as an actual verb. They are action words that can be done, such as Sandra ate the fudge. They always have an object in the sentence attached. The action is being done to the object by the subject. In our example, Sandra is the subject and the fudge is the object, where ate is our transitive verb. Intransitive verbs are also actions, but they don't have objects to which the action is being done. These are sentences such as I ate or he traveled to work. The second one is a bit more confusing because we've got words that follow the verb. However, traveled does not affect or is not being done to the words to work. It is independent. Therefore, traveled is still an intransitive verb. Auxiliary verbs are our helping verbs. They are used together with a main verb in a sentence and indicate tense or change the verb to a negative or a question. Using the same original sentence, we can change it to past tense, a question, or to a negative. Mark has written his final words. Has Mark written his final words? Mark has not written his final words. Changing and using the auxiliary verb has changes the tense and type of sentence. Modal verbs are types of auxiliary verbs, and they are used to express permission, ability, possibility, obligation, and even advice. We can change the sentence to a question just by moving the modal verb to the beginning. If we have a look at this table, this summarizes our modal verbs for us, showing us which indicate ability, permission, advice, obligation, and possibility. The words can and could can indicate the ability of someone to do something. She can play the guitar. He could swim quickly when he was in school. This tells us that someone is able to do something. We can also use can and could in sentences where they indicate permission. This also uses the word may. Often, these are questions and answers. Can I borrow your car? You may write in pen. We are asking for or giving permission. Advice uses the word should. Should we have sweets today? You should exercise at least 3 times a week. This is advice, and it is not something you have to do. Something that we are saying you have to do is an obligation, and these sentences use the words must or have to. You must pay attention in class. You have to write neatly. We are telling people that they are obliged or should definitely be doing these actions. Possibility is something that may or may not happen. These words include might, may, could, and can. I might go to the shops today. We can watch a movie tomorrow if you like. These are things that are not set in stone. They might happen or they might not. Irregular verbs include any verb that changes its spelling to show tense. There are hundreds of examples, and we learn these through experience. The most common examples are the words said, ate, and thought. These are the past tense versions of the verbs say, eat, and think. They change their spelling to show that they are the past tense of that verb. Finite and non-finite verbs. Finite verbs show number, tense, and sometimes gender. She writes a story. The word writes tells us this is a present tense sentence, and it is a singular verb. There is only one person writing the story. The children write a story. This is also in present tense, but the word write shows us that there is more than one person writing the story. They have written a story. This is past tense and plural. The word written refers back to they. He wrote a story. Again, this is also past tense, but now we have the singular version of the verb. These are all finite verbs that show number and tense. Non-finite verbs do not show person, number, or oftentimes tense. There are different types of non-finite verbs, including infinitives, participles, and gerunds. If we look at the sentence below, sing is a non-finite verb. Sarah tries to sing, they try to sing, we try to sing. It doesn't show us a difference in the number of people or the different type of people doing the action. Infinitives are a type of non-finite verb and are often easy to see because it is preceded by the word to, which means the word to comes in front of the infinitive verb. They cannot stand alone. They are also preceded by finite verbs. Children love to play. She wants to talk. The words love and wants are finite verbs. Play and talk are infinitives, which we can see preceded in both circumstances by the word to. Please try not to split your infinitives. I am going to definitely complete my work is not the correct form of this sentence. I am definitely going to complete my work is how we write infinitives properly. The word to comes right in front of the infinitive verb. Participles are another type of non-finite verb. They state the continuous nature of the action. They usually end with the suffix ing, and they must have an auxiliary verb helping them out. They are playing. The man is eating. The dog was running. I shall be running the race. Participles which end in the suffix ing are called present participles. This doesn't mean this is happening in present tense. It is just a special name for participles ending in the suffix ing. Gerunds also end in the suffix ing and can be quite confusing if we don't know how to find the gerund instead of the present participle. Gerunds act as nouns in a sentence instead of verbs and can be indicated by the word of. If the sentence makes sense with the words the action of in front of the ing word, it is a gerund. For example, the child is crying for her toy. If I put the words the action of in front of crying, my sentence changes to the child is the action of crying for her toy. This sentence makes absolutely no sense, and therefore we can say that crying is a present participle. If I say the crying of the child alarmed them, we can see the word of coming straight after the word crying, and can say the word crying is acting as a gerund in this sentence. The last example, she enjoyed crying during romance movies. If I then put the action of in front of the word crying again, my sentence changes to, she enjoyed the action of crying during romance movies. This sentence makes sense, therefore we can say that crying is a gerund. Verbs can also have moods, and there are 5 main moods that they can have: indicative, imperative, interrogative, conditional, and subjunctive. The indicative mood indicates that something is happen or may happen in reality. These are factual things. The dog jumps into the car. The fence might fall down if the repairs are not done. Both of these can happen in reality. Imperative moods of verbs are commands. The word imperative means something that you must do. If I say something like sit over here, do your work, I am telling you you must do those things. Therefore, the mood of my verb is imperative. The interrogative mood of a verb is something that asks a question. If you get confused, remember that cops interrogate a suspect. They ask them questions. Will you go away? Are you sure? I am asking a question with my verb, meaning that the mood of the verb is interrogative. The conditional mood means that something else has to happen before this can happen. If you pick up the snake, it may bite you. When I win the lottery, I will buy a big house. For the first sentence, picking up the snake is the conditional action that leads it to bite you. Therefore, if I don't touch the snake or pick it up, it won't bite me. When I win the lottery, I will buy a big house. I cannot buy the big house if I haven't won the lottery. Therefore, winning the lottery is the condition for me buying a big house. The subjunctive mood of a verb asks what if. This is something that is not certain and may never happen in reality. Often these are wishes, doubts, or uncertainties. If I were to win the lottery. If I were to win the lottery, the chances of me actually winning the lottery are very, very low. So it is not certain that it will happen. We also always use were instead of was in these subjunctive mood sentences. And that is it for our different types of verbs in the English language.